This is Infection, the H1Z1 podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, July 28th, 2015, episode 28. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Infection, the H1Z1 podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on H1Z1. We bring you the latest news, changelogs, developments, strategies, and speculation each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Gamecast Live is my Twitter. InfectionPodcast.com is the website. Joining me, Brian with an eye Aldridge.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. Hey, if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and start with my contact information. If you want to go to biteoftech.com, that is my blog, or if you want to go to google.com/plus Brian with an eye Aldridge, that will take you right to my Google Plus page. And of course, we have our Steam group. I'm always encouraging people to go check out our Steam group that has everyone who plays all kinds of different games. It'll show them listed there. So even if you're not playing H1Z1, you can go see if anyone else in the Steam group is on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Look on the upper right. It says Join Steam Group.
What do you think this is? Promotion hour, Brian? You're sitting
here? Hey, I got to get them out of the way.
This is Infection, and we bring you the latest news on H1Z1. I mean, I guess we should start. Should we start with the elephant in the room, Brian?
Yeah, that was something that, man, I wasn't expecting this news.
I mean, imagine watching like a semi-truck slam into a brick wall at 1,000 miles an hour. That's essentially what I saw in my head when this headline came out. And following the recent back and forth on Twitter between John Smedley and the hacking group Smedley, and the hacking group Mazel Tov, and the hacking group Lizard Squad, he has stepped down as the CEO of Daybreak. And like Brian said, this came as a shocker to a lot of people. As you're probably aware, H1Z1 experienced some pretty significant downtime. It was probably 3 weeks ago now, due to the back and forth over Twitter. And even though I kind of thought, like, hey, possibly this may happen, I didn't think this was actually going to happen.
Yeah. Well, this is something that I can't blame him, and I don't think it's totally his fault. It's not like he's doing a horrible job. We need to, change CEOs or, get that guy out and get someone new in. That's not necessarily what it is. And when I sat and thought about what was going on, part of this has got to be for him. I mean, the fact that he's getting bomb threats when he's spending time with his family, and just all of the, this guy he's a pretty outspoken person. And so that's kind of a dangerous place to be when, as a CEO, you get someone like the Lizard Squad guys that are coming and, making these bomb threats and then affecting his his work life as far as taking down the services just because of him. And that's got to be a lot of pressure. Yeah.
And I mean, I would imagine, like Brian said, the reason that he stepped down, I don't think is because H1Z1 wasn't doing good. It was because he's
bringing too much negative attention.
And the biggest problem is his personal Twitter account that is verified, Twitter verified, is linked to him being the CEO of Daybreak. I think at that point, that's no longer his personal Twitter account. He can no longer just voice his opinion on there because the way he conducts himself directly reflects on the Daybreak Game Company, and in this case, it did. He was making threats to this hacking group, suing one of them in civil court, and they decided that they were going to pull down the H1Z1 servers for 2.5 days, and they did. So,
and this is the thing is, if he had his personal side account that he was going on, they still may link it. But when he's doing so much H1Z1 hype on this account, and then he's also doing these personal kind of in your face, I'm coming after you in courts type of attitude over the same account, they're going to treat them as the same thing. This is business, personal, same thing. We're coming after your business.
Exactly. And so I guess, Brian, we should mention that Russell Shanks, who had worked for Daybreak before, so he's currently working for Daybreak, has been promoted to the CEO of Daybreak. On Twitter, it doesn't say, it just says game developer, so it doesn't say what his role was. It's not like it said he was a graphic designer or a game engine guy. It was just game developer, and he worked for Daybreak, and he still does.
This is a smart move. They're taking somebody who, realistically, who outside of the company has really heard of this person. No offense to him. It's it's not like it has to be someone who's really public, but who has heard of this person, and if he knows how to direct this company in a way, or it could be a temporary thing. He could be temporarily stepping in, and they may be going through the process of finding an actual replacement, a CEO type of replacement for him, because maybe this isn't what he wants to be doing, but maybe he's willing to step in and direct the company and make sure things are operating in the way they need to for the period of time that they are going and finding someone.
Now, now that he is no longer the CEO, he is taking a brief absence from the company, and he will be coming back to the company. So he's not fired. He just stepped down. He's taking a brief break, and then he will be back in Daybreak doing something else. What he will be doing, we're not sure. I would imagine it's going to be something directly involved with H1Z1, probably pretty high up, as he was the CEO. But one quick thing.
Well, he was this, and that's one thing. He was the CEO of Daybreak. He very likely could come in as a director of H1Z1.
Exactly.
Maybe someone who sees the whole H1Z1 branch.
H1Z1,
not very possible.
H1Z1 was his baby.
Yeah.
Like it was strictly, not strictly his baby, but it was his idea that he, I believe, pitched to, at the time, Sony Online Entertainment. Yeah. And got credit. So this is his game. So I would imagine he would want to stay pretty close to the development as possible. Like, I don't think he'll be working on PlanetSide 2. He'll probably be sticking inside the H1Z1 team. But really quick, Russ Shanks on Twitter, he has tweeted 11 times since April 2009. So he's not super active, which is maybe what they need. But I mean, one of the nice things about John was that he was so in your face with H1Z1 stuff. He was constantly posting stuff, and I think their whole point with H1Z1 and Daybreak is transparency. Everything that happens gets put out. All the changes, everything that's going on inside the company, for the most part, is out in public. So he is going to have to take...
He's saying that Falcons Watch from our chat is saying that he was the COO up until this point. So he didn't really put a true description of his job title on his Twitter account. So, that's one thing. He's not very public with what he does. And I think, as we were kind of saying before, I think that they need somebody. Maybe they can have this person be very non-public. Then you could take somebody who, for each area, I mean, you've got some people that are pretty vocal inside of H1Z1. Get it to where not the CEOs are public about all these things. He could be running things in the background. Yeah. And get a different person in each of your divisions. Like, you got Sebastian and you've got Adam and you've got your person in hacking. You have somebody who's really vocal for that department, who kind of speaks out and gives the public point of view for that department, or maybe one person for the game, but not the whole CEO of the company. I don't think he should be stepping out and being quite so vocal, because as you can see what happened here, if he's too vocal in the wrong way, it'll come back to bite the whole company.
Exactly. Now let's get into, Brian, we say it in the intro, speculation. So what can this mean for Daybreak and for H1Z1? Now, a lot of the biggest speculation going around, and it was all over Reddit, was, is this game no longer going to be a free-to-play? Now, my personal opinion would be, I don't want it to be a free-to-play. I want it to be a regular $20, $40, $60 purchase, and then you get the game. But let's be realistic here. This guy was already high up. He was the chief operating officer
Yeah.
Brian, do you really think anything that drastic will be happening? Especially if he's just an interim CEO, which is a possibility as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that they're going to change that, because that is something that they're doing company wide. It's not specifically an H1Z1 thing. I know that free to play, we don't feel like it would work very well in H1Z1, but if you look at some of the other games like EverQuest and PlanetSide, free to play I think works for that type of a model. That's where they're kind of stuck in this situation, is when they say, hey, all of our games here at Daybreak are free to play. Well, this game, even though it doesn't work well into the free to play model, they're kind of stuck in that.
Yeah. So the posts are going along on Reddit, and my personal and Brian's personal opinions of free to play maybe not working for H1Z1 aside. I mean, let's get realistic here. Nothing that drastic is probably going to change. Now it could, because a new CEO, he will potentially have that power. I don't know how that stuff works inside of Daybreak, but and Falcon said the same thing in chat. There will be no big course change. Realistically, it's going to stay where it is. And even though I don't agree with it, I don't think him going from COO to CEO is going to mean H1Z1 is no longer a free-to-play and is now just a regular released game.
Now, what if it's subscription-based? I mean, if you look at some of these other games that they have an overall subscription you can get that gives you the premium version of all of their games.
Personally, I would not pay for a subscription-based game. I never have, and honestly, I don't ever plan on doing that. Subscription games do not fit what I do. They don't fit. I will not pay $10 a month to play H1Z1. It's just not going to happen. They won't get my $10 a month.
And that's the thing, is that's as long as they don't restrict it so much, because some free to play games, I mean, we paid money and we kind of expect it to be open, right? Yeah. I think if they go through and make it to where the game is so limited that as free to play, you can't really accomplish what the game is made to accomplish, I'm not up for those kind of games. I'd rather pay $20 now and just have the game. I don't want to have it to where I'm constantly having to pay their $5 a month to have normal features, because then you pay for the games many times over. Or have it to where, like with BRs, if I want to go do a BR, I have to pay money for a ticket. Right now, they're pretty cheap, though. Yeah. But I think once the tickets actually have a value, it may get to where it's $1 a ticket. Do you really want to pay that to get even a small pack of tickets for $1? For me, I'd rather pay one fee up front and just have it be done. And I'm not much of a and look at WoW, though. I mean, people pay $15 a month to play that game. Yeah. And the free to play model is so limiting, you're not really doing anything on the free to play. It's the beginning levels. Yeah. I mean, if they could get it to where it had that much of a draw, but they're not going to be able to get it to be as much of a draw as WoW.
H1Z1 doesn't. The game style of H1Z1 doesn't fit a subscription-based model. They couldn't add enough new stuff for it to be worth a pay-to-play model. I mean, once they get the buildings and the guns and stuff in there and the whole system working, what would they be charging you for every month? There's really nothing. It's not like WoW, where there's these expansions and stuff they're constantly working on. That's not going to exist. It doesn't fit, and H1Z1 doesn't even fit a free-to-play model. It doesn't. Yeah. It just, you look at all the other, and we always get flack for saying this, all the other similar games like DayZ. Yes, I know H1Z1 is not like DayZ, but similar genre-style games, they just don't fit this free-to-play model. It just doesn't work.
When griefing can become a major point of the game, let's say people that are either hacking or griefing, when they can come in and there's no limitation, like you're never going to be able to ban somebody fully. Yeah. If they can go in and spoof their hardware create a new account, you're never going to stop those people from recreating an account on a free-to-play model.
And
I think
Brian,
that's a lot of the problem
and
that we're running into.
that's not even the biggest problem that I have, and we've mentioned this a while ago now. Every major group in the game that has a base will have multiple second free accounts that will log off with all of their gear. If a Steam account is free, and then H1Z1 is going to be free. So, but now you're going to be raiding bases, and there's not going to be anything but some cooked rabbit meat, and maybe some food.
I mean, it's gonna be the old banker. I mentioned this before, but in WoW we had a guild banker. I mean, I was the guild banker, so I had a character that just had as many bags and everything, and I would just take everything that was of value. I'd log off with it. But this is before guild banks, and so if someone needed something from the guild bank, and I kept a database on the website of what he had, I would log in, give it to the person, and then they'd be able to have it because there was nowhere to store those things. And so here it's going to be the same thing, but just for the reason of here, I want things that people can't get to. When they come in and raid my base, I want to keep this safe, so everything's going to be logged out with those characters.
I mean, somebody at Daybreak has to realize that that's just not going to work. I mean, there's no way that, Brian, myself, and like 24 other people in the live stream are the only ones that see this being a progression problem. I mean, this is going to exist the second this game becomes free to play.
Well,
and it's
really
never going to end.
Discussing this, I mean, they've got to be discussing just the huge problems that they're going to face the second that they release this free to play.
You would hope.
We think that they get bad press for what's happening right now. I mean, I cannot imagine what's going to happen in the first month of them releasing this free to play as people come in and just all the hackers are back.
Well, and all the hackers are back in waves. They'll have multiple computers running multiple hacks. It's never going to end.
Yeah,
it's never going to end.
Well, and that's where if they can come in and impress us with this auto ban system, because so far I've been seeing videos of people that are still speed hacking. Some it's been a lot less. It used to be you'd see people speed hacking all the time. I haven't seen it as much lately, but they are still doing it. But if you could come up with some sort of a system to auto ban the speed hackers, okay. So this kind of leads me into some things I've noticed recently. I've been noticing rubber banding in the game now, and I know a lot of people have been looking on that as a negative thing, but I look at rubber banding and I think, man, they must be doing some server side checks now.
Exactly. That's what for people that don't. For people that have never played Battlefield, where it's the most prevalent, rubber banding is what you get, and it's caused by the latency between you and the server and all the other players. Because now this wasn't confirmed, but in the H1Z1 of the past, the server would not check your location, so you could be at an XYZ coordinate of this, and then be all the way across the map, and the server would just go, "Oh, okay, you're over here now."
Yep.
When realistically,
and this is something very recent.
Exactly, and that distance.
I've never seen rubber banding before this.
Exactly, and now this rubber banding, what Brian is describing, is most likely because you send the XYZ coordinates to the server, it goes, okay, that makes sense, sends them back, and that's why you're getting that rubber banding. There's some desync between you and the server.
Yeah, because I noticed today I was running around, and it seems like it's as of this morning's patch.
Okay.
But before this morning, I never noticed any rubber banding like this. But this morning, I was running around. I went into a trailer. I came out, and then it sent me right back into the trailer. Ran out again. It put me right back in the trailer like 3 times.
That's pretty significant.
And so it was just pulling me back. I saw somebody post a video where it had like somebody's head got stuck on a building, and like it was like flopping their body all around, like and it actually looked like a rubber band to their neck. It was hilarious. Yeah. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but that was kind of funny. But still, I've just noticed it, and they did put out a notice a little bit later, like an hour or two after that they were making a change that should fix the rubber banding. And I hope that they're not turning off some server-side checks. I hope they actually fixed some of the issues that were causing the rubber banding and not just kind of reducing some of the checks that it's doing, because they definitely need the server-side checks.
Yeah. So we will we'll wait and we'll see. Getting back to the CEO thing, we're gonna wait and we'll see what happens with the new CEO, and we'll bring you any updates. But definitely a complete shock.
Falcon's asking, do you think that we think that they've implemented server-side checks? And that's what I'm saying is I think that they have implemented some sort of server-side checks. It's not like everything you do is checked with a server, but I'm wondering if maybe when you go in and out of doors or something.
Checked. Yeah.
Maybe that's why when I was in the trailer versus out of the trailer, I was going through a doorway. I'm wondering if it's saying, is he supposed to be able to be inside or outside of this trailer? Because that seems to be when I've noticed it is when I'm around a doorway. And so maybe they're turning on some.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's purely speculation. I've not seen any documentation to really clearly say that. I know that they are doing some checks on whether someone's supposed to be in a place or not. Perhaps that's part of this.
Exactly. And like Brian said, complete speculation. Just rubber banding is typically associated with, server-side checks. So that's what we're going to roll with at this point. But Brian, and Brian brought this up earlier in the week, we should start keeping track of what we say on the show, because now we're extending the week of
the 2 week patch cycle, or that 2 weeks of patches is now 3 weeks, because I know last week we said 2 weeks is great, but I bet you they're going to go out another
yeah
and here we go, another week.
So we had a post on Reddit earlier this week saying, hey, they've had great success patching this stuff, but they need another week. And like I said last week, this is fine. This is perfect. As long as they're working on fixing issues in the game as it sits right now, another week is perfectly fine. I encourage another week. And even if they want to go one more week, I would encourage that as well, so that we can have as many.
Now we're gonna go another week. I shouldn't have said
that. Have as many of these little issues fixed now, so that we can get back to fixing the core of the game and having the base building worked on and all this, and not have to deal with these pesky little problems that have been around for months now. As we're steamrolling past 6 months, just trying to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's where if they go through and if they're turning on some of these server-side checks and doing some of these things, as they go through and make some of these other changes, like someone had mentioned, are they going to do damage checks? That would be huge, because that's going to cut out all those people that are doing the magic bullets. That's going to make it so that the game is much more enjoyable. And we don't know how much hacking is actually happening in BRs.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we know how realistic those scores are, or how we're doing compared to other people, when you can kind of tell when someone's hacking in a regular game, but you're really expecting to die, and you don't always know where the bullet's coming from in a BR. Right? So I think that they definitely need to get these things fixed to where if they're going to go and put a bunch of emphasis later into BRs, they need to have it to where you're cut out on the hackers, and to where you can do a BR and not be thinking, is this guy hacking or not? Because that's mostly right now, everybody's trying to figure out, well, is this guy hacking? And, what's he doing? How did he kill me this way? That shouldn't even be anything we're considering, and if they can get it to that point, then add more features to the game.
I mean, Brian, you've played more BR than I have recently. What is the hacker situation like in BR for you?
I don't really notice. It's really hard to say. I don't see people that I'm like, okay, that person is obviously hacking. It used to be in the lobby, you'd see people flying around, doing all kinds of crazy things, but I haven't seen that lately. So, and they've done a huge amount of ban waves. They did another big set of ban waves this past week. So, it's really hard to take a good estimate of where the hacking situation is. I know they're still out there, but they are banning them pretty quick. I mean, that's been something that the second someone gets reported, you hear that within an hour, people are being banned.
Yeah, I
think that's great.
They've really picked up compared to when they first started doing the bans, and you would ban somebody, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before they would actually get banned. It appears now that they're logging, or now that they're even checking the important information, that they can say, all right, this person is hacking. So they're checking that they're cross-checking the reports with the player information, and now we're actually seeing people getting banned pretty instantaneously.
Now, this kind of brings me to another thing that has been more recent, but these group bans.
Yeah.
I've got some screenshots. I don't know if you want to show those really
Yeah,
quick.
I'm showing one right now.
There's been a number of them throughout the week. This is just two of them that I happen to come across. But these are clans that are being banned, and not just clans, but people that are playing with hackers. And this is something new. It used to be clans would figure, okay, we'll have one person in the clan that hacks. Everyone else will play with them. If that account gets banned, that's fine. That's no longer the case. Now, if they can shadow you and see that you are running with that hacker, that you are playing, and they can see that you obviously know that person is hacking, you're going to get banned too. And I think that's great. Like, this is going to be a good step in getting rid of that token hacker of that person that you have in the group that's going to be doing whatever they want, and just being one of those throwaway accounts.
Exactly. So these are your screenshots here, Brian?
No, this is someone else.
Oh,
This
okay.
is just someone who posted on Reddit
Okay.
about it. I've seen a couple, but I didn't catch screenshots of them.
All right. So that's good. And the funny thing is, in the first screenshot, they said that they were destroying their base. So they just, like any legitimate play, like they just destroyed the base for the DS clan.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, because we've heard. I mean, they've had ones where they said, "Oh, this base door is open," things like that. But they're really putting out an effort to show people, hey, if you run with these hackers, you risk losing everything. You risk losing your account. If you don't get banned and you're running with, if you're even in a group and sharing a base with the people that are hackers, you risk losing all your stuff in your base too. So
Yeah,
for some people, maybe that's enough to keep them away.
It seems like it's a pretty big deterrent. Like if I was dealing with a group that had a hacker, and me just being a single player that plays alone, like I think this would easily distance me from a group.
Yeah.
Like I'd say, hey, I don't want my $20 to go to waste.
Well,
I'm
we
just
even
gonna leave this.
I saw some video of a pretty well-known streamer that had run into a hacker. And this was a couple months ago before they started doing this. And then he just ran with the hacker for the rest of the night and was like, hey, kill this guy, kill this guy. And he was thinking it was funny. Well, now you wouldn't dare do that.
Yeah.
Because if Daybreak gets a hold of that, they're like, okay, well, this famous streamer, he's gone. And that's, I mean, they always have a hard time doing that, but you got to do that because he's doing nothing but promoting that, hey, it's okay as long as you're not the one hacking. And all these people are making excuses for this streamer. But it's like, well, you're running around and you're the one calling out, kill this guy, kill this guy, kill this guy. You're just as bad as a hacker just because you're not clicking the button.
Yeah. So let's get into, we had a lot of server patches this week and a lot of good notes. So let's get into the test server update of the 21st. This was last week's show, but after the show. So a few things that they did. The first one was they removed the recipe wipe from the hardcore rule set.
Which I think is fine. I mean, how many people really were looking for that as a
hardcore recipe
wipe? I mean, most people didn't care that the recipe wipe happened.
Yeah, because
I mean, then you wouldn't build anything. I mean, it's a good way to cut down on the amount of buildings and everything. But I don't think anyone was like, ooh, some people were like, man, I'm first core, or I'm first person, hardcore, or the people are in the third person. Well, no one's really like, I do recipe wipe.
I'm hardcore, guys. I don't need your peasants that are on the regular server. I'm hardcore recipe wipe. They fixed an issue with when you were rolling prone with the rifle. This is now fixed for both the male and the female. And if you hold down Shift and A or D while prone, A bringing you to the left and D rolling you to the right, you'll now be able to roll. They've added a messaging to players when you use the numpad 1 in team chat. They also fixed another issue where the gun slide would stay open and the ammo was still remaining. So is this the issue where people were ghosting ammo?
No, well, I haven't heard about ghosting ammo.
Well, there was that video or the Reddit post.
This is when I think this is when that slide of like on the handguns, how it would stay open.
Yeah, but it's saying ammo is still remaining.
Yeah, so when you had ammo in the clip, it's not supposed to stay open. It's only when you run out of ammo.
Okay, I see what that is.
That slide is supposed to stay open, saying, "All right, load another clip." You hit the thing to have it then kick back, and it loads around.
Because because I thought that there was a video on Reddit a few weeks ago of some guy. It was a client side ghosting of the ammo. So he ghosted around.
But okay, so the issue with that though is the ammo doesn't
do any damage, and that's what I thought this was referring to when it said ammo still remaining.
Yeah, so if you still have ammo in the magazine, sorry, not in the clip.
Brian, everybody's attacking you in chat. Go ahead, give it to him.
Ammo in the clip, and then if there's still ammo in the clip, it should never stay open.
Yeah. So that was just an animation bug. Now, finally, Brian, rewards for Team BR were in the test server allegedly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take allegedly on that. They added voice and group indicators to the nameplates, so you'll now see when people are talking in the nameplates and the group indicators. Those will both be in the nameplates. Object placement is no longer allowed when crouching or prone. I don't know why that was disabled. I guess maybe you could prone and place something where you wouldn't be able to if you were could see under something. But that is fixed now. There was a problem that they fixed that was causing players to not appear nearby after initially spawning.
I think they would be invisible.
Yeah, we had that in the base a few times. I would spawn and people wouldn't see.
Were you with us when that happened in BR to me?
No.
Okay, I was playing in BR, and
I've had it where we think we're in the same BR, and then it turns out we're in different games.
The whole game we were next to each other, I couldn't see someone else. Like, they were invisible to me. Like, there was 3 of us in the BR, and the whole game I could not see the person. The other person could see them, but I could not see that person the whole time.
The whole time. Now, this was more of a, you would spawn in at a base, and, some people wouldn't see you for, 10 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. I don't, and I haven't run into this, but how would you know? I mean, unless you're trying to group up with that person.
Yeah. So that is now fixed. Going back to the patch notes for this, grenades now trigger the proper effect based on the ground material. So if it hits in dirt, dirt will come out. If it hits gravel or pavement, it will be a different animation. So that's good now. So that's a little more dynamic with the grenades there. To toggle the HUD resources, they remapped F to H by default. So now H.
Okay. So why do you think they did this? What are they going to be placing at F now?
Justify this. I honestly think the only reason is because people would hit that all the time. I constantly hit the F key, and because I shouldn't say constantly. I would hit it every once in a while, and I would panic and forget, and I couldn't remember what key it was. So then I'd be pressing every key on my keyboard. I think they're just moving F away from D.
Yeah,
because it's too close.
And just they're figuring HUD, H for HUD. Not that people know.
Yeah, but I don't think anything is going in F right now. But I just think they're trying to. H was an open key, and they're just moving it away from F because it's too close to WASD. And I pressed it a few times, and would freak out because I would not remember how to get the HUD back, and it was annoying.
Well, I would get it to where I'd accidentally hit it, and then I can't see. There's certain details you just don't see that you kind of take for granted. So I think that is fine. But now I know that I'm going to still be pressing F out of habit, just to try to pull that up, and I'm going to have to remember H. Did H didn't do anything else before, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly I don't know. I don't think anything pretty important. No. Not off the top of my head. The next bug they fixed was issues with certain objects not detecting rain properly. For example, campfires, dew collectors, and stuff like that. So I guess the campfires
what about water bottles? Because you're supposed to be able to fill a water bottle from rain. I mean, at least they used to. That was a big thing, and I haven't tried it since they've started the rain.
It doesn't specifically say that, but campfires, I guess, are now supposed to go out when it rains. Yeah. I honestly didn't know that was supposed to happen. But the dew collectors were sometimes a hit or miss if they would actually fill or not. But now when
it's raining, it should always fill, and I think this is what that does.
Yeah, and then now the campfire should automatically go. That's really going to suck if you're cooking food and it starts raining. Are you just going to lose all your food?
Maybe it will do it on a shorter timer.
Possibly.
Maybe it's less likely to stay lit as long.
I doubt it'll go from
it to where in 2 seconds it's out. You don't have time to cook anything.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with that. So now this is good. So this is for Team BR. And when teammates from the Team BR box, when you would get a notification when you were in the box of Destiny, and they would be sent to other players if you were in the Team BR thing. So that notification is now being sent. They fixed another issue where some players were being unaffected by bullets. So you would have like invincible players or rubber bullets, essentially, where it wasn't killing people. You would just shoot them a bunch of times and it wouldn't do any damage. So I wonder if people got banned for having invincibility because they were getting a bunch of reports when they were realistically just being affected.
I don't know.
By
I don't think they would be banned. I think that instantly when they went and looked at that account, I would assume that this would register differently. I don't think it's a bug that they could, by choice, take advantage of. And I would assume that over at the hacking department, they would be able to tell that, okay, this is something that's not being done by the player. But I have seen this on video to where someone's just sitting there shooting at somebody like crazy and nothing happens.
Yeah. So that.
And they did assume that that person was a hacker. So there's definitely got to be reports that are coming in.
Without a doubt, that's what I would assume, and I think a lot of other people would assume that as well. Another thing that was added was the global team chat to the key binding display in the group window. So when you're in the group window, you could set that up as well. General improvements to zombies and animal awareness. This is just the alertness of the different animals in the game. Yeah. This next thing is so important. This is the multiple mics that now display on the HUD. So when 3 people are talking, there will be 3 speaker icons and names on the left-hand side of your screen. Previously, it would just stay with one person's name. Whoever talked first would just kind of be stuck on the left-hand side of the screen. So you could never see who was actually talking. And it was
this is something that is mostly fixed. You can see a list of names now, but you can see some people, the names will be on top of each other. Mm-hmm. They don't always stack correctly. So sometimes there will be 2 names stacked on top of each other. But for the most part, like in the BR starting area, you'll see a list of 5 to 10 names.
Ah, okay.
A long list. But there is a bug, and I'm sure that's just a little UI thing that they'll be able to get fixed pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now the bear, Brian, they've been hitting the bear hard in terms of trying to make that a really good AI, and they did some adjustments to the bear AI. That's that tweaking thing that they have to do with these animals.
So they made some adjustments to the bear, but then it became super unresponsive. I mean, it does stand up. I was running by a bear a couple days ago, and it actually did stand up to warn me like they were talking about. But it got to a point where you could almost run up to a bear and it wouldn't attack you. But that is something that they've addressed in this most recent patch that we'll be talking about in a bit.
Okay, well, that's good. So now going back to this, a bug was fixed where you were unable to place a wall on a base expansion where the foundation and the expansion meet. So essentially, it's that line where the base foundation and the expansion are that you would not be able to place a wall there.
And I think this is more of a random bug.
This was random because our bases had these. A few of our bases had walls on that line. So this wasn't a game-wide issue. This was just a time-to-time issue that was popping up. Another issue that was fixed was the inventory window would close prematurely. So it would close and then you have to just reopen it again. That has been fixed. They've added a team chat how to use notification to players in BR. Have you seen this?
They're going to have to make it so that it pulls up somewhere else other than in the notifications along the top, because you know how it says like 98 people are in here, 99 people are here. Well, the problem is they throw it at the beginning of that, and it's instantly gone.
But as people are connecting it, it goes away.
I mean, instantly. Like the second come in, I just happened to have noticed it on the screen flying up with the numbers, and I kind of knew what it said already, or else I would have had no idea that that's what it was saying. So they're going to have to put that notification in some other window, or make it stick maybe to the bottom, because it does not stick around long enough when you're going into a BR.
And they've also added notifications, member notification messages in Team BR as well. So when team member notifications,
maybe like the team member disconnected.
Yes,
the
exactly.
Team members joined.
But again, if that's in the pre-game lobby, you're not going to see it because it's in that text window at the top of the screen.
It's in those notifications. It's instantly gone.
You're never going to see it. Zombies should no longer warp to another dimension occasionally when being run over by vehicles. And they say the wormhole should not be closed. This was an issue where they would just disappear.
Yeah. But they'd still be alive.
Yeah, they would. Just half the zombies would disappear. I would imagine that was probably issues they were having with the server because those AIs were still active, even though they weren't in the game.
And we used to run into also like invisible zombies. I haven't heard too much about this, but we had this one where there would be an invisible zombie running around and just attacking people, and you just would have to shoot at the air, or where that generally was coming from, which side you were being attacked from, to kill that zombie. Okay. I don't know if maybe they're going to the same place.
Yeah, the wormhole is now closed, Brian, so no longer should...
So hopefully there's no more invisible zombies.
Yeah. Crop growth, we talked about this a few weeks ago, will now be preserved on server restarts. And I would hope server crashes as well if the server does crash.
Yes, I think that's what they're talking about. Even with a crash or a restart.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
with a crash, it may be a little behind, but
it may not reserve the state properly. They may have it to where the state of the crop is caching to some sort of a database or something every period of time. Mm-hmm. To where the crash, you're right, you may lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, like every other server crash, it doesn't back up every second. It may, do a backup every 5 minutes or something. So if the server was to crash in between those 5 minutes, you would lose 5 or 10 or 15 minutes worth of work. But again, it should preserve it generally, so we should be fine. It should no longer be a big problem. You can no longer stack first aid kits, which I know is an issue for a lot of people, especially in BR, because you pick up as many first aid kits as you would need. Yeah,
people were just going to see how many they could get, and then they just would stay in the smoke or the poisonous gas for as long as they could, just stacking these kits.
Yeah. And then you kill somebody and they have 97 first aid kits. That's not really going to happen anymore.
I've never understood how people got so many, because for me,
you see one.
Yeah, I'm like, I've got 4 or 5 first aid kits, I'm set, and then I'll go kill somebody and they got 27 first aid kits. It's like, where are they getting all these first aid kits?
Yeah.
And how are they getting so many so quickly?
And they also fixed so that first aid kits will now override bandages. So if a first aid kit is being applied, you can no longer also use a bandage during the same time.
So if you're doing a bandage and then you use a first aid kit, it kills the bandage and then starts a first aid kit, right?
Yeah, but the bandages can still be stacked, so don't worry. You'll still be able to stack those. They made some changes to the body simulation, so Sims should now work as designed. I guess this was some of the weird body movements that we would see from time to time.
Like when you're holding a rifle and your elbow would be sticking out a really weird way.
Yeah, that should all be fixed.
I still don't think they run quite right. Like they have that really stiff run.
They're a little odd, but in terms of like random freakouts on your characters now, that should for the most part be fixed. This is interesting. It says lock codes should now work properly after server restarts. I think it was what was the issue?
Well, I was noticing that owners had to re-enter their codes, and I don't know if that was like the owners had to enter their codes, which they shouldn't.
Yeah, because I was thinking this isn't codes stay on your character if you restart the game, right?
Yeah, well, and that's only a very limited amount of time.
Yeah,
that happens. So I don't know if that would actually be what this is talking about. It seems like I think it was like the owners lock codes, or it could be that servers restarting it and then the codes would stop working. That is a possibility, but I never really heard anything about that.
Yeah,
I mean it's very possible that is what happened.
We never saw a big issue with lock codes and server restarts, so a little unsure on that. This next one is kind of interesting. It says, made trees provide better cover from various projectiles.
Yeah.
Is this so?
I would assume, like, if you're standing behind a tree,
I don't remember being shot through a tree before. Because
I've got some video of being shot through a tree.
Yeah, but that was a hacker.
Yeah, but maybe they're using the fact that they can do this.
Okay.
That maybe that's how they were shooting through the tree.
I mean, I know Magic Bullet wasn't effective, but I know if you shoot a tree, you see the damage on the tree.
But if you're using an aimbot, they would know exactly where to shoot to make sure, like if you're on the edge of that tree, they could shoot you what would seem like through the tree.
Yeah. Now, H1Z1 DB is saying tree trunks. Yeah, I think it's the trunk. But
like if you're hiding behind a tree
trunk. I'm trying to remember if I was ever shot through a tree trunk.
I've been shot through buildings.
But it's all been by hackers. I think this is referring to regular players.
Well, it could be that they're edging it out, that edge, so that you can kind of feel like you can look around the tree a little bit more. Yeah. That's kind of my guess of what they're talking about, as far as maybe they had it to where if they shot along the edge of the tree, it would still hit you.
Okay. So maybe
they're making it so you can feel safe looking around the corner.
Maybe they've just fixed the trunk of the tree and the space it takes up inside the game. The iron sights have been updated for the for the rifle animations, so that iron sight has been updated. These are all BR issues. It turned off team kick when players disconnected before the match starts.
Because there's still a reward possibility.
Yes.
Even you're just down to one person can win the reward. So what would be the point of kicking the other people on the team?
Yeah.
They're just less likely to win.
Yeah, so that's been another bug fix is that base construction that could leave the foundation socket unusable until the next server restart. So essentially, you would not be able to place stuff on your base. That's until
a restart, which you never know when that's going to happen.
That's going to happen. A few other BR adjustments here. The parachute sequence, that's a little different now.
And I haven't seen what has been changed.
Neither have I. And the last bug thing for BR was it added a text notification for the match that ends in a draw. So if there was a draw.
And a draw is when people are, let's say it's down to 2 people and they don't kill each other.
They get killed by the gas.
They start a time. Well, they even start a timer saying,
"Oh, okay.
This match will end in however many minutes."
Mm-hmm.
And you can either sit there and hide from each other for that amount of time, and then you'll have a split reward. But yeah, so they've added a text notification, which, as long as you're not near the gas and it's flying by saying you're taking damage, I think they really need to find a way to separate those 2 pieces of text.
Yeah.
Because it seems like so many times we get these notifications, and depending on where you're at in the game or what's happening,
You lose them.
You don't even get to see these notifications.
Yeah. So this is the test server update. This was the test server update that they did last Tuesday, which we reported during the show that there was an update that happened, that it was a pretty significant one.
But they hadn't put out the notes with it, yeah.
But the notes didn't come out till later that evening. So that is the test server update for that. Brian, you sent a few pictures here of a female character model. Where did you get these images? And
so the artist that made this, he actually posted it to some sort of an artist forum. It's a place where you can post your work. And so this was Sebastian had linked one of his artists' posting of this. So I had seen this, and they're really high quality. One of them's not, or 2 of them aren't safe for work, I don't think. And so we'll have a link to the show notes in that, but I figured we could show some of the other ones in here.
Yeah, so I'm showing this first one right now with the...
so this is a high quality rendering of course, without the what the skin color is and the clothes color are going to be over it. But this is the high quality rendering of the female character. He goes through and he actually shows some close-ups and some different angles. Here, one with clothes on,
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to look like, how the clothes actually fit over the body. And then I think they have one with, it's just the head.
Yep.
So you can see like there's some scarring. I think they're just mainly showing, here's how much detail we have. And then this is just the actual model's detail. I mean, it's incredibly high quality.
Oh, yeah.
You don't really notice in the game. Then they'll put an actual graphic over this,
body.
which can then give it to seem even more detailed.
Yeah.
So imagine with their DirectX, and this is really what I really wanted to show. Imagine this with the DirectX 11 or 10 or anything above 9. Imagine this with the higher quality rendering of that. You can really see what they could do with the detail of this.
Yeah, and the interesting, well, not even the interesting thing here, but that's the whole thing here. And H1Z1 DB in the same thing said they look amazing. Like, these are unbelievably high quality. Like this model will stand the test of time in H1Z1. Like they will never have to.
And I know
this
that they post,
model.
and H1Z1 DB is saying they post as well, and they did. I just wanted to show because here was some places, and they actually I don't know if they had the ones that were this high quality and close up. I don't remember when he actually posted this one.
Yeah, and then the last image here is just the female's teeth.
Just to show the detail of,
Yeah.
Even down to the teeth.
The gums.
I'll
and
post the
everything.
original link here so people have access to the whole thing.
Okay, yeah.
And of course, these will be in our show notes as well.
Yeah, so you can check those out if you're listening on the go. But that's cool. That's good.
It just we were saying. Well, I really remember when we were saying. I don't remember how many shows ago, but I really hope that they are putting in renders and making things so that when they come out with this new engine, that they're not going to have to redo things. And this is what we're talking about. This is how they should be developing things in preparation for when the new engine comes out.
Yeah, and then there's similar for the male models. Do you want to go through these quick, or? All right, let's go through these male models quick. This is the, this is a few pictures from the male model right here. The first one here, you can see without clothes on, but again, really high quality. You can even notice some lines in their back. Second one here, with some more clothes on. Interesting thing I want to note here, the hair. I'm not sure if this is just a rough render or something, but the hair almost looks like money. So it almost just looks like they stuck a bunch of sticky notes on the male player's head on the second.
Yeah, the hair isn't exactly.
So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but you can see how the clothes kind of conform around the body a little bit. The second one here, or the third one here, is just pictures of the front of it and the back. You can see even some scarring and stuff like that on the player model. Then we've got the head, and then we can see the arms with the veins, and the same thing with the legs and the veins there, and just unbelievably high quality renders here, Brian.
And then this is that the artist is up on the upper right, but he's the senior character artist
at Daybreak.
At Daybreak. So I mean that's a good thing. So we've seen Sebastian's work, this guy's work, and I think it's really important they put out, like if they put out something they're proud of, post it like this. Let people know, hey, look what we made. We're proud of this, even though you don't get to see this level of quality maybe in the model. That's in game. They're having to do a lower quality rendering because they're working with the DirectX 9 engine. But at least show it on here to say, hey, look, we are doing this to the next level, because you don't always see that in game.
Now, going back to notes, Brian, because this was a very big week for patches and stuff like that. There was a client hotfix yesterday that fixed crashing during heavy simulation work. But
I noticed that a lot of people were like, I was noticing a lot of choppiness.
And that's what everybody is posting. Lots of choppiness after the update. So
I was getting it to where I would click to pick up an item, and the item would stay there for about 10 to 15 seconds, sometimes 20 seconds, which is a long time in the gaming world.
That's very significant.
And so I would pick it up. I saw the notice, like the text go saying I picked up the item, and then I just would keep on moving, and the items would still be there for quite a bit of time afterwards. So
but they would go in your inventory, correct?
They would go in my inventory immediately. So I just kind of learned, okay, as long as I keep picking up and moving along, and just ignore the fact that it doesn't look like I picked up the item.
Okay.
But that went away, playing today and yesterday. That seems to have gone away to where when you pick up something within, a second, it's picked up in your inventory.
Yeah. So the H1Z1 servers also went offline this morning at 5 a.m. Pacific for the 728 update. This is their Tuesday update.
Now, a lot of these updates that we've been saying until now, like the 21st, a lot of those were test server updates.
Yes, the 21st update, which is almost a copy and paste. There's a few changes that I'm going to point out, but everything from the 21st pretty much made it into this game update note. But a few things that are different is that vehicles should no longer sink into ramps, stairs, and deck expansions.
So you can actually use a base as a garage.
As a garage now. You won't have to worry about keeping a single cloth in your car or putting ground tampers somewhere so that it wouldn't sink through. That's all fixed now. There was an issue. This is very specific, which is odd. Invisible zombies after being hit by cars on headshot-only servers. So this was just limited to the headshot-only servers.
So probably because the cars weren't registering as a headshot, the zombies weren't dying.
But they were invisible, which is weird. They didn't say they weren't dying. They just said they were going invisible.
Well, so I wonder if this is probably that wormhole. Like they didn't explain before that it was headshot only. This is probably that wormhole bug where they disappear into the nothingness when you hit them. So this is probably just a better explanation, and I'm glad they didn't use such loose terminology on the actual patch notes. Here's probably a better explanation of what actually was fixed.
Yeah. Going back to this, there has been an interaction problem with the barbecues and furnaces for a very long time now. I always had problems trying to use furnaces and barbecues. Like I would have to click the E sometimes 3 times.
Yeah, is that limited only to barbecues and furnaces, though? I mean,
No, but that's what the interaction problem has been fixed with the barbecues and furnaces. So that
and I'll have to
should,
try that out to see if I actually notice a major difference, because this was this morning that this happened. So I'll
yeah.
have to see if there's really a noticeable difference here.
So that's been fixed as well. Fixed a bug with the direction of some melee particle effects. So now, hypothetically, when you're killing people, the particles should go in the proper motion depending on where you were hit or you're hitting from. The nameplates and health bars should be appearing again on
Lining
the
up,
test servers.
actually. Yeah, and actually lining up above the player's head correctly.
And then now the nameplate should line up like Brian just said. And then it also fixed a crash bug with the animation system, which
And I don't.
again,
I mean,
not
there
specific.
have been crashes over the past week or 2 weeks that it's kind of hard to say, is this what was causing it? I know that they keep saying, we've been making it more stable, we've been fixing some of these bug crashes. I would assume this is probably some of the problem. I'm sure that they fixed some other problems for other people, but this is probably part of it.
Yeah, and now one quick other thing here. In the Battle Royale, they have replaced the first aid kits with tactical first aid kits, and they replaced bandages with field bandages.
Which I think do double the amount of healing.
Exactly, but the tactical first aid kits do stack, and the field bandages and gauze also stack. So people are still going to have 97 first aid kits here, Brian. That will no longer, that's still going to be a problem now.
Now, but they said, okay, but you can't stack the first aid kits.
Well, you can
stack field bandages and gauze, right?
No, tactical first aid kits will stack with field
Oh,
bandages.
okay.
And
So they can still do this in BRs.
I believe I think that's what this is. It says tactical first aid kits stack with field bandages and gauze, so that should all stack together.
Well, but maybe you can do a tactical first aid kit and then put bandages and gauze on top of it without canceling out the bandage and gauze.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what that's
I
saying.
bet you can't stack first aid kits with each other. They're probably keeping that rule across both. But if you this is of course speculation, but this is what I'm getting out of this, and it would make sense. So if you throw on a first aid kit, you can then start stacking bandages to try to keep alive.
Okay. So the first aid kits did not stack. So that was, the wording is not the best on that. But
I mean, that's my guess out of what they're saying.
Yeah, and H1Z1 DB is saying that the first aid kits still do not stack. And then the last big thing on this update that came out this morning was that the fire axe will now properly work again. And Brian, going back to your rubber banding issue, there's been some type of fix as of 11:40 a.m.
Yeah, and they said that they're going to roll that out. I had to go to clients, so I didn't even get to try it out afterwards. But I was definitely noticing right before that it was happening. So I'm going to have to try it again here, and then see if because you can't miss it. I mean, if you're running around for any
you'll notice
decent amount of time, if the bug is still there, you can't miss it, because you're going to be flying all over the place when it figures you're not in the right place.
And now we do have some. This is just on Twitter. This is Twitter news. But the H1Z1 game tweeted a little while ago that the 5-man team battle royale is now unlocked on the live servers.
And I heard a lot of people say, this isn't going to be out till next month. Well, it is almost next month, but this is going to be out for a long time. They were thinking that the 2-man was going to be fixed, but not the 5-man. And this is good, because it's been grayed out. They must have found whatever the problem was that was holding them back on this. It was probably just one thing was keeping them from doing it live. I'm sure they figured out that one thing, and that's the beauty of this whole length of doing bug fixes. They get to fix things like this. The people that are developing this aren't pressured to put out that new content, put out that new content. Fix things like this. This is core. These things need to be fixed, and I've been really impressed so far with the amount of things they're actually putting out in this time.
Now, Brian, are you familiar with what the base permission enforcement system is?
Yes. They put out a post talking about how they're going to have a system where if you enclose a base, let's say you put up walls all the way around in a gate, that is what they consider a secure perimeter.
Exactly.
I don't have the post. Do you have the link to it in here?
If you talk for a second, I can find it. I know exactly where it is.
Okay. If you want to put it up, and then we can throw it in chat too. But what they're doing is once that perimeter is secure, everything inside of that base it's treated kind of like what we've seen up until now with rooms. Supposedly when someone enters a room like through no clipping and is getting in there in a way that they're not supposed to, they aren't allowed to interact with things inside of that room. They're going to be going to where they're treating the whole base in this manner of saying, all right, if you are entering the base without going through the front door, either by entering the code or by destroying the front gate, you're considered to be a person attacking, I guess. This counts for people that are jumping in too. This is going to be stopping people from actually jumping into the base. One thing that they did change, though, is you can't jump as high. I don't know if you've noticed this, but they have lowered the amount that the player can jump. I found, you know how you used to be able to jump onto trash cans and things like that?
Uh-huh.
That is no longer possible. And maybe if you jump on something else and then a trash can, but I'm so used to just jumping over trash cans that you go to jump over a trash can and you just run right into it and stop.
Yeah.
So I saw the Agno in chat. He did post it, and I don't have it up in front of me.
Yeah,
so
I have it right here. But it was pretty much what you described. I'm trying to skim through it quick, so there's no reason to read the whole thing.
Can you post the link in the chat? But this is something that I'm sure is going to be incredibly buggy initially.
Exactly.
I'm sure this is going to be something that once it comes out, we're going to have lots of problems with it. But I think in the long run, this is a much better way of doing it.
Yeah. It's a lot to go through, but essentially there's going to be an access list of people that can open up containers. So this is the first step to kind of a clan system, Brian.
Yeah.
In terms of it only allowing certain
this person has permission and this person doesn't have permission. And this is going to have to be even more of a reason for them to implement that. Because if someone logs into the base, they're going to have to, if without a clan system implemented, if someone logs into a base, they're going to have to exit the building and then come back into the building for it to register them as supposed, allowed to be in there.
Yeah. Now it's good that people won't be able to, no clip into the base and steal all this stuff. The problem is now people are just going to go into the base and blow up all the containers. So they're not going to get the loot. But this really doesn't address the issue of no clipping and.
See, but I don't think that they'll be able to blow up the containers inside of the building until that breach happens with the outer perimeter.
Okay. All right. So we'll see.
I think this will stop people from no clipping in and blowing up internal doors because they won't be able to do damage to those internal doors.
Okay, that's possible. Yeah.
So I mean, this will make a big difference because that's what we mostly run into. I mean, we're constantly having people no clip in and then just blow up the internal doors.
Yeah, exactly, and then steal all the loot.
Then they have access to everything. This is going to treat it that if you didn't come in through that front gate, you can do no damage to the things inside or even interact with the things. And this is what I'm getting out of this article. You won't be able to interact with anything inside.
Now, unfortunately, this is something that's really hard for us to test because we're not no clipping. So I'm not really sure how we can test this.
The only way we'll be able to test this is if we had somebody log out inside of the base, get it to register them as not logged in properly, and then have them throw down some explosives or do something to see if they can do damage to something inside of the base. I mean, that would be the only way that I can think of us testing it.
Yeah. So we'll do our best, but we're pretty much just going to be relying on other people's posts.
Well, and we're gonna find out as people, if people start coming in and doing the same thing that we've seen in the past of no clipping in, destroying things, or stealing things from inside the base without coming through the front door.
Exactly. So we'll wait and we'll see what happens with that stuff.
And that's one thing. Infected Joe is saying, make sure that you put the sleeping mats in front down by your gate, and that kind of leads into. Yeah, this is something that I gave. I think was this tip of the week last week.
Is it last week or the week before?
It was in the last 2 weeks. But one of our viewers, Killcam, he made a video kind of demonstrating the sleeping mat trick.
So are we showing this? Is there audio on this video?
There is audio. I mean, we can put it in the show notes too. So
do you want
to go and
do you want to talk over, or do you want me to just play the video?
Nope, just go ahead and play the video.
Alrighty, so we're going to play this video. It's from Killcam's update, so you can check it out. It'll also be in the show notes. Here we go.
And you can push this exclusion zone beyond the area of effect of the IED's explosion. Not bad for a few tarps and scraps of cloth, eh? Now don't get overconfident with this. Sleeping mats can be destroyed, but it is a time-consuming process that will eat up more resources and make attackers even more vulnerable when they're attempting to make a breach. Biofuel and ethanol can still be dropped on sleeping mats, of course, but they're a hell of a lot weaker than IEDs, so it's a win-win for the base defender. For an inexpensive investment of tarps and scrap cloth, you make raiding your base more difficult and increase the amount of resources required to do it. So go ahead, line the exterior of every gate and door with sleeping mats. Hell, surround your entire base with sleeping mats. Cover up the roof of every shelter with those things. It costs you little, but benefits a lot. That's all for this Killcam update. Comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day.
Alrighty, so that's pretty much what's being demonstrated there.
Yep, and that was that tip of the week. I mean, that's how you stop it. Just all you have to do is line those sleeping mats up along the gate, and you can really see in the video where he's showing, it's red.
Yeah,
like
I skipped to that. The video's a little bit longer. I skipped to that part where you can see that there's no way to place an IED there.
Yep. And so that is the trick. And the only way to get rid of those sleeping mats is using the biofuel.
Which is not as plentiful.
And it doesn't do nearly as damage to the gate. So they're having to waste biofuel just to get rid of the sleeping mats, and then they can use IEDs.
Yeah, and in fact, Joe's saying, so keep the tarps, don't drop them. That was always typically like open a car, find a tarp, and drop it.
Yeah, because before, realistically, we were using tarps for the dew collectors. And now it's like we actually have a reason to hold them and to keep them and store them in our base. Because before we were saying, just everybody, please drop the tarps.
Yeah, we're
not going to be making them. Yeah. So that was one thing from one of our listeners, and he actually posts a lot of content throughout the week. So we'll have a link to his channel in our show notes.
Exactly, you can check that out if you'd so like to do so. The name pretty much, just a lot of good gaming stuff on the channel, and it's not all H1Z1, but most of it is.
And here's another article that's actually by H1Z1 DB, who is in our chat right now. But he goes through and he found where there is what looks like the first floor of the hospital.
Yes.
That somehow got put into, I think, a test server.
Yeah, this was on a test server build. And then there's a YouTube video here associated with it that I'm just going to kind of play along. But you can definitely see that the first floor of the hospital is there. There is no the ground mesh is still there, so there's still tree or plants
it's
growing.
Definitely not
and
how
all
it's
that
supposed
stuff.
to be.
Definitely not.
You can't go to all the areas, but this is a good indication of where it's going to be. I mean, this was what some of the guess is if you go up the road that goes up towards the governor's mansion, there's a place where a dirt road cuts off.
Yeah.
Right at the end of that road, it pretty much comes to a dead end. It looks like it's going to be right at the end of that road.
And there's a map on this page right here. It's a little hard to see, but where this little white indicator is pretty much where that's going to be. Here's some external pictures.
In the video, H1Z1DB is saying that the video is actually Hanny's. But it's on H1Z1DB website.
Yeah, so there'll be a link to that, and you can watch the video if you'd like. That's pretty much what it is. So, oops, somehow that happened.
Yeah, somebody accidentally put something into a test release that maybe they weren't expecting. But this is a good hint that maybe we're closer than we think on getting this hospital out.
The fact that one floor is already done. Now, the location, I don't know if the location's necessarily going to be there. That may have just been where they were testing the location.
I don't know. It would make sense that. I mean, it's kind of a weird place.
That's exactly what
why would you have a research facility right up just on the way out to the middle of nowhere by the mansion?
It would be in a city or some type of populated area. That's why I'm thinking.
But you don't want to overpopulate the city.
No, I get that. But
Pleasant Valley has enough things already.
I didn't mean in Pleasant Valley, but they could have thrown this a little north of Spence Hills near Dragon Lake, and it would have made a lot more sense.
Or north of that east-west road.
Yeah, just
somewhere along there in all that open space.
Yeah, not over by the governor's man. It just doesn't. And Manstand is saying near the edge of PV. It definitely does not need to be in PV. There's already way too much crap in PV.
I mean, it makes sense that it would be on the edge of PV, but as far as content, like they've got so much stuff stuffed into that one place that everybody goes there. I mean, they've got to draw them out.
They could have put it in this whole middle section of the map. You know, Dragon Lakes, Devil Pass, Spence Hills, anywhere in that area would have been, I think, 1,000 times better than where it is where it was on the test servers. It just doesn't make sense there, and it's a one objective thing. Like, you're going to travel out there for the hospital, and that's it.
Well, it's kind of like the dam. I mean, people go there to get backpacks and things like that. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to have here that's really going to draw people out there, but they really need to come up with some sort of content that's going to draw people out there.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some material or there's something that is specific to that place. And they could almost do the same thing with the police station, with the dam. With the dam, it could be, you know, of course, in the future, if they're going to go and have it where you fix power, then that will become something that's a specific reason to go to the dam. But like with the police station, you know, have it to where there's something specific there, whether it's the cop outfit or, you know, maybe a baton and certain type of a gun. With the fire station, you know, those fire axes, they should have it be that's the only place where you really find those fire axes are at the fire station. I think if they get it to where people are having to move around to get all these things, give people a reason to roam.
Now, Agno is making a very good point in chat. He's saying, not if you keep in mind that the map will expand sooner or later.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think of that, but now that makes a little more sense.
Well, if they expand it out, I wonder which direction it's going to expand out. If they're going to have it where it's like going east or and north, or, you know, west and north. I haven't really thought of which ways. Or are they going to equally expand? I think they're going to.
I think they'll each equally expand the block of the map. That's what I think would make the most sense, because they have those little tunnels on each corner. So I think they're just going to expand out a little bit.
People are in chat saying they need to add dinosaurs.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know about that.
No,
I think we've already got games that do that.
Let's see here. What else do we have? Some fan art, Brian. There was some cool fan art that was posted on Reddit. This is one guy that's been making all this stuff. It's
a SWAT vehicle concept.
Yeah, I don't want to butcher his name. I'm not sure.
Samila Crumble. Is that who you're talking about? I don't.
It's on the bottom.
It's on the post.
It's on the bottom of the image. But
I can't even. It's Severate,
maybe.
That sounds good enough.
But here is the SWAT vehicle, and this is like a Pleasant Valley SWAT team vehicle. This thing is really cool. At some point, it would be cool to see this in the game. There's what appears to be blood spattered on the driver's side window, and then, of course, some on the grill as well. This is a really cool. I mean,
this would be a vehicle that'd be very difficult to blow up with guns. Maybe they don't even have to really be able to shoot very well from the back. Maybe have a little hole that they can look through and roughly shoot things. But I think this would be more of a transport vehicle that then people pile out of. It'd be good for base raids. You can pretty much drive up to the bottom of a base, everybody pile out and start attacking the base.
Now, Brian,
so I think you could use it for a lot.
Now, in your opinion, how many of these would be if something like this was to go in the game, how many of these would be in the game, and how hard would they be to get?
I think it would be something where maybe there's 3 on the map total. If they could come up with a way so that people weren't hoarding them, you would only need like 2. But the problem is they make it to where people can pull these up into their bases. They'll sit there for a week, right? I mean, what good are they doing? I saw some video of a group that had hoarded. Had to be at least 15 vehicles, you know, and someone went and blew them all up. But if you can't have it to where one clan or one group is able to hoard all these vehicles, because what's the point of having 3 on the map? If that same group is able to go and hold all 3, you'll never see them on a smaller map.
Exactly. And that wasn't his only image. There was more. There's a battery image, and the name is going to have to get changed because they're called Smedcell batteries.
Because I guess he doesn't keep going. So
but these are just some other battery renders, just some other cool stuff that obviously this guy's got some talent in the 3D modeling world, so he's throwing these out. And
The thing is, he could have gotten these images off of a site that's already rendered. Maybe he made them themselves, but I don't know.
I mean, the fact that he's saying that his fan-made battery concept, I doubt he's just pulling them. That's pretty crappy if he is.
Yeah. But realistically, I don't see them going into this much detail over batteries.
No, I don't. But the cool thing is we've seen in the past Daybreak take stuff from Reddit, cool ideas, cool concepts that they see and implement it into the game. So this is
make it so you have to find batteries for those radios, walkie-talkies. I mean, there are a lot of things, and I think they made a list. I saw a post with a list of things that people are saying, hey, here's what you could use batteries for.
Yeah, but the one thing is definitely if you have some type of skill like this, don't be discouraged.
Daybreak does pay attention to these sort of things. Like if you put something out and they see it as cool, post it on Reddit and it will get noticed. I mean, these guys go through and actually look at the things that are being posted on Reddit. They will notice if you do something that is unique. But I think batteries on this, there's a lot of things that you could add in the game that, batteries become a thing that you go out and seek.
Yeah.
Time sinks.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I'm always talking about. But I think they're so important to this game.
Now, next, we haven't actually mentioned him this week, but our buddy Sebastian, our buddy, like we know him, but he posted...
Yeah, we talk to him all the time.
Yeah, he posted this cool... He likes Vine for showing his animation stuff, and he posted this video to Vine showing how the new water effects on the dam, and last week we showed you the water effects on the car, the water ripples from the car tires. That's pretty much the same thing, but with this water coming off the dam. So I'll pull that up again right there. But that's pretty much what that's showing.
And I wasn't sure if they were going to pull this out. Because I think a long time ago I predicted that they may hold off on this until the new engine. But it's good that they're actually putting time in and getting the water effects going for this.
Yeah, these are really cool, high quality. I mean, not high quality, but getting into more detail. That's what this is.
I mean, the fact that the water actually interferes with the below area. I mean, I don't know if that's just like a repeating animation. It could be. But it could be that it's actually interacting with the water below and creating the ripples, kind of like what the car tires were doing.
Yeah. So that's in the game, or not in the game now, but I actually it might be on the test server.
I saw a video that someone had seen it on the test server, so I think it is actually implemented.
So this may be in the game now. Go check out the test servers if you are interested in that. Brian, we've got this video called Real Life H1Z1.
Yeah.
And it's from the same guys that made the what was it? It was another video. It was another Real Life H1Z1 video.
It was kind of a similar video, but they were making fun of other oddities and bugs in the game.
Yeah, so this one is titled Real Life H1Z1 Base Raid. It's done by Cruel Ocean. So sorry for audio listeners, but we're going to roll this video now, and there'll be a link, of course, in the show notes on the website if you want to check this out on your own. So here we go.
Are you friendly? Wait, it's you. Yeah, dude, I have a car over there. You want to team up again? Yeah. Found a base over in town we should raid. Okay, but I'm driving this time. Alright, follow my directions. Okay. Turn right. Wait, I said right. Sorry, I've never drove before. I don't even know which way right is. I don't know, my controls must be messed up. Turn right by that camper. Holy crap. We have reached our destination. There's probably so much loot in there, dude. Yeah, but I think we should search the house first. I don't think it's been looted yet. Hey, dude, I found you a gun. Dude, it just disappeared. Oh, sick, dude, I found a bat. Wait a second, a cabinet? I don't know, it must be a bug. Hey, that vehicle's gone. Wait, this is pointless. I have a furnace. Did you just hear that, dude? It looks like her face was empty anyways. Dude, what's wrong with your finger? I don't know, dude. I think it's bugging out right now. What the heck is that?
And there we go. That's from Cruel Ocean. We had some issues with the screen capture there. But you can check it out in the show notes if you're interested in that, or if you want to watch again in higher quality. This is their second video they've done. I love like the in-game mic sound.
Yeah, and I love that. Like,
perfect.
I have commented on the weird movements of the arms.
Yeah,
They totally mimic old little oddities of how they move and how you sound in this game.
yeah. So that's really cool stuff. That's their second real life H1Z1. I would imagine they'll probably be doing another one soon. I'm not sure what the next one will be, but that's some cool stuff.
Well, and I like people give them downvotes, and I don't understand why. Because I mean, it's got to be people that don't actually play the game.
It's
why do they do things this way? Because
they posted
we
it
get
on,
all the inside jokes.
They posted it on Reddit, and I'm sure the Reddit people were like, "Oh, your mic sucks." Like, obviously not understanding that that's what it actually sounds like in game. Like, I wonder.
So there's a link in chat. So go in there and upvote them. Give them some support so they keep on doing it.
Yeah, and H1Z1DB is confirming the same idiots on Reddit. Exactly. You're having a bug in the game, and it instantly gets downvoted. Like, how are you downvoting my post about a bug that I'm having? Like how does that doesn't make any sense. But that's Reddit. So check them out. That's Cruel Ocean on YouTube. There'll be a link in our show notes there. Let's Brian, let's get into our current players segment, and we have a brand new graphic for current players. I was kind of sick of showing the Steam DB info thing, and the text wasn't the greatest. Well, bam, here's our current players. So when this was this image was created, there were currently 12,308 people online. The 24.
And right now there's only 12,229, so they're pretty close. I mean, it's not that.
I did it while we were watching that video, so just what's changed in a few minutes. The 24-hour peak was 13,737, and then our 7-day peak was 13,976. So obviously the patch today came pretty close to hitting our 7-day peak.
Yeah, a lot of people coming in and checking out all those changes.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up the graph right here, and we can see when that peak was. That was the 27th, which was yesterday's when that highest number was reached.
So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, right now, I don't know. If you look at now, it's still pretty close. I mean, it's barely down from that peak.
Yeah.
So, we're going to see more people as they come in and check out some of these changes. But that's one thing I'm noticing is if you look at the overall that players in the last year, because I always like to look at that, look at how it hasn't dropped off quite as rapidly as it has in the past months.
Yeah, I mean, you notice right around I can't even.
Well,
see
after July 15th.
Yeah, after July 15th.
After July 20th. It went up, and it has more gradually started to drop off.
Yeah, in the previous one, these graphs are so hard to show. But in the previous ones, it was like a complete waterfall, where they would release a patch and then it would just go straight down to the ground. And now it's this more gradual.
Which is good. I mean, that's what they need to be doing is maintaining through the breaks. And how much of this is, as we keep saying, is those people that came in and got it at a discounted rate. A lot of those newer players that aren't just coming in to check out new content; they're actually coming to play.
Yeah. So we'll see with that, but that's current players. So if you guys, if you have any comments on the new graphic or anything you think we should change, let us know, but I think it's a little bit easier to show that than some of the text on the website there. So,
But now, one thing, if you look at the total owners of the game,
okay.
That's been pretty gradual. You would think that there would be a sudden spike when they have the sales, and I don't really notice that. If the owners and total players, it doesn't seem like that has jumped up so much. So I don't know if that kind of puts holes in my theory of this is new players that are coming from those sales.
Well, when was the sale?
It was a couple weeks ago, but if you look at the one where it was like June 29th, I mean, that's a month ago.
Yeah.
There was a slight rise around July 13th and then July 20th. It goes up, but it's not a huge amount.
Yeah.
It's a slight rise in sales. It's not like we see, a 20 to 30,000 jump in the number of owners. Well, actually, maybe we do. Realistically, compared to 1 million. I mean, it goes from, 1.375 to a little over 1.4 million.
Yeah. So you are seeing
it doesn't jump up.
I mean, it is, but not compared to 1 million.
Yeah.
It's going up a little bit.
It's a bigger rise than they've had in the past.
Yeah. This website doesn't go that far back with the players.
Yeah.
So the owners...
We can't really see past a month ago. It shows you the last month.
Yeah. There may be another site for that, but obviously no time to get it now. So that's our current players segment. And Brian, you do a segment if you're ready to go into that.
Yeah, I do tips of the week. And in tips of the week, we like to cover some of the new things, for ideas for new players that they can do. Maybe it's something they don't realize, but it's a tip that they can use as a new player to help them get farther in the game. Of course, our advanced tip is something that the most seasoned veterans of the game can also get something out of. So either way, you'll get something out of tip of the week. All right, so for our beginner tip, this is something that I like to do to quickly get geared in game. And of course, this isn't limited to a beginner. Even the most advanced player can use this to their advantage. But if you die and are unable to get back to your body and to look for it in time before your loot bag despawns, usually your bag will reanimate into a zombie. And so if you look around and you can try to look for a zombie carrying some sort of loot, so maybe if you had a crafted bow of some sort or a machete or something that you were using, you may see a zombie walking around that is carrying that weapon. If you can find that zombie, go kill the zombie, and that zombie should have all of your loot. So it's really nice, and it doesn't even have to be your zombie. If you go down to Pleasant Valley, to more of those high population areas of Pleasant Valley, there is a good chance that you will see a number of zombies walking around with bows or guns, maybe wearing a helmet rather than those hats. Those zombies are most likely carrying a decent amount of loot. So sometimes you can get fully geared instantly by going and making a handcrafted bow really quick, going and killing a zombie, looting it, and then in PV you have almost everything you need. There is one caveat to this. One thing I've noticed is that compasses are destroyed when you die. I've never seen never looted a compass off of a zombie, and I don't know why they do that. But one thing you won't find are compasses. But most of the other gear you will be able to find on a zombie. For our advanced tip, I just wanted to give some hints on how to use materials in base rating. If you look at the base rating materials, you can use IEDs, ethanol, and biofuel. So let's say, for instance, to destroy a metal door, you would need 15 IEDs, or you would need 22 ethanol, or you would need 40 biofuel. So that can just give you an idea of the difference. And that's just for a metal door. That's not for a metal gate. I didn't have the exact numbers. I'd have to go see what they are now for the metal gate for the rest of them. But it takes 25 IEDs to be able to blow up a metal gate. So that is something, kind of give an idea of you'd multiply that in a similar fashion to the ethanol and biofuel. To get a metal gate with biofuel, it takes quite a bit. You're going to have to do probably 75, I would guess, maybe a little bit less of the biofuel. So that's one benefit of what we had talked about earlier with the sleeping mat trick. Make them waste as much fuel as possible to be able to get into your front door. So, lay those sleeping mats down so they can't just use the 15 IEDs. They have to lay down a whole bunch of biofuel to destroy those materials, and then use those 15 IEDs or 25 IEDs to get through that door. So that is something I think that a lot of people have had questions, because these numbers do change as they make patches and make updates to the game. You'll notice that it'll take more. It used to be that the numbers were switched. It used to be biofuels numbers were like IED, and IED was like biofuels, and it would take double the amount of IEDs to be able to blow something up. They've made adjustments to that. So this will not be forever, but this is something kind of give you an idea of right now in the game. This is what it takes to blow up the metal gates and doors. So that is our tips of the week.
And thank you very much for that, Brian. There was a 46 megabyte patch that just went out to the test servers. And we've got H1Z1 DB running some analysis tools on it right now to see if there's anything different. And we'll hopefully have that before the end of the show here. Zactorman is mentioning something interesting in chat that I also saw on Reddit. There is an issue with the AMD Radeon cards where it does not show the red or green placement colors. So you cannot actually build a base or try to place stuff with that card. And I saw it on Reddit, and I just assumed, or maybe that's just a one-off problem. But now that I'm seeing him post that as well,
and Falcon says he has a Radeon card, so it's not everyone that is seeing this issue. So it may be a very specific set of maybe the cards, or something with the driver set of this specific set of cards.
This guy is saying that it's the ATI Radeon 9 cards.
Okay.
So most Radeon cards are currently glitched. Okay, so I guess it's most of them. Falcon has an R9, but he's got the 270X.
Yeah. So it's not everybody, but it'd be interesting to see if this is something they come out with. I don't know if this patch is maybe a test of that. I'm gonna being in such a small patch, it's probably just fixing one small issue, because I think that's the minimum file size when they do a patch is about 49 megabytes.
Yeah.
So when they make a change, no matter what, if it's a small change, it's going to be about that size.
I have a 7850 in my other computer, my other desktop, so I'll boot that up and
have to give it a try.
I'll give it a try. I wonder if the Steam Family Share will work if I stream the game like that. I wonder if it'll no, because it's probably still using my main GPU, I would think. I'll probably have to just download the game and run it.
Well, if you do the streaming, so for people that are looking at doing in-house streaming, there's two different things. There's the family share, which will let you access your family member's library.
Oh, okay. But I'm talking about the streaming.
There's the in-home streaming, and it actually uses your video card and everything from the the computer that you're streaming from. So it's showing you a screen share of what it looks like.
Yeah.
It opens up, so it would really mess up the stream if you try to do it right now.
No, not right now. I have to turn. I don't have the 7850. I'd have to switch. I have the 70. It's in a box. I'll put it in and I'll give it a try. I'll switch that out after the show. But
now, one thing I was going to mention, they've been putting after these patch notes, these bug lists, putting a place where, like, for instance, they said, on at 10:40 a.m. they fixed the rubber banding, or they alleviated the rubber banding issue. I'm sure that there's still going to be some rubber banding. And then they put on at 11:30 a.m. they disabled the base permissions enforcement system. So whatever was for that base enforcement system that we were talking about, that has been disabled now. So there's none of it going on, probably because, as we said, they ran into bugs with it. But they have these bug lists. So it's nice now that after they put out a patch, they're actually creating another thread that goes through and says, hey, here's what the current patch, here's some things we're running into. So people just don't repeat the same bug over and over again on Reddit saying, hey, look what I have, look what I have. They can actually see, oh, okay, other people are running into these same things. And they give a place for you to actually post them in one place instead of creating a thread for every single bug.
Yeah. Now,
But on there, they are mentioning that like the HD 7850s, the HD 6970s are having the issue.
Yeah.
So they're kind of going through the listing though.
It's some of the Radeon cards, and then Manson is also saying it's some of the Intel cards. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
But the Intel, those are onboard cards. So not many people are playing with those unless they're on a laptop, most likely. No, it's definitely not an issue with the NVIDIA cards because I haven't seen any posts of that.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any issue on mine. Of course,
Now,
I didn't try to place any building objects in the last day.
Exactly. But looking at Reddit now, this happened a few weeks ago. Brian, you may have noticed this. You may not have noticed this. But Reddit now allows you to have two. Or each subreddit is now allowed to have two stickied posts on the top of the subreddit. So right now you see the game update 7.8 or 7.28, and then the 7.28 bug list. So it's nice that there can be more than one thing going on at the same time, and it doesn't get
and
lost.
it's kind of like linking them together. All right, here's what we changed. Tell us your bugs with them.
Exactly.
Because these things don't stay on there very long. I'm sure the next time they put out a patch here in the next couple of days, this is going to be taken off, or if there's something that they consider important. But on there, like they had put that the 5-man BRs are live now. Those of course are big ideas. People are going to upvote those, and they're going to stay up at the top for a while. But I think that the bug fixes and keeping people informed of, hey, these are bugs. Don't create new posts for these. I think that's important to keep that up there.
Exactly. And H1Z1 is now saying that there's no new items that he can see as of right now, just a few description changes on weapons and so on and so forth. So nothing too big.
A small little change.
Yeah, nothing too apparent from the game files. But of course, it seems Tuesday nights seem to be their nights for releasing these test server builds. I wish they would release the patch notes soon, because that would be great. Yeah. But
I have a video I would like you to play for fun.
Okay.
I'm going to put it right at the top of the notes.
Okay.
But this is that rubber banding, the neck rubber banding issue that I was talking about.
Do I need to show audio for this, or can I just play it?
Yeah, it's pretty funny if you show audio.
Okay, so.
But this is somebody who's playing in a BR, and it shows them with a person who's run into this issue.
All right.
That wasn't you, right?
What?
Get in the car! Oh! What the fuck's going on here? Come outside, dude. What the fuck? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's like...
Fuck you, Amado. Fuck you. Fuck you.
China number one.
And there we go.
That's the average interaction. And
yeah, well, thanks for screening that video, Brian.
But I thought that was funny. You see how I've never seen that before in game. You see how he's just like
I saw that one other time. I saw that one other time in the trailers. Somebody's body, they were killed and their head was inside and their body was kind of like streaming on the outside. So yeah.
That was funny. I saw that and I was like that. Okay, this is their new system of something, but I didn't think it would do that.
Yeah, so apologize for the explicit language there, Brian.
Yeah, sorry. I can't edit the video to bleep it out.
Well, I wouldn't have played the audio. I could have just waited.
Sorry. It's like your average talking. I don't know. I just figured it was
all right, well, next week I'll put plenty of F-bombs in the show notes, and I'm just gonna let them rip next week. So Brian, where can people find you on the internet?
If you want to find me, go to Bite of Tech. That's Bite of with an I, biteoftech.com, or you can go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge, and then that will take you to my Google Plus page. Or just go ahead and go to our website. If you go to infectionpodcast.com, on there, there I have a contact form for us. But one important thing: join our Steam group. if you go on the upper right, you'll see Steam group. You can join us on there. That'll tell you when we're playing, other people in our group are playing. It's a good way to meet up and maybe do some of these new 5-man BRs, 2-man BRs. That's an excellent place to start. And on there, if you want to become a member of our clan, you're more than welcome to click join us. It'll be clan on the menu system and join us. And there's all the steps that you need to be able to to be a member of our clan.
Alrighty, thank you very much for that, Brian. We'll see you next week. Guys, we are like 3 or 4 subscribers away from 200 on YouTube, which may not sound like a lot, but we're pretty close. We're at 197 subscribers right now. So if you've not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, just go to our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. Click the little YouTube icon in the top on the nav bar, or click it on the sidebar. Or if you just search for H1Z1 Podcast on YouTube, will show up there as well. Of course, as always, you can check out our Twitter. That's where you'll get tweets and retweets from. We have a list of the developers that we follow, so when we see important stuff going on, we will typically retweet it or something like that. And so you can follow us on Twitter. It's at InfectionCast on Twitter, so don't hesitate to do that. Guys, thank you so much for watching the show. My name is Nick Craig. InfectionPodcast.com is the website. We'll see you next week for Infection. Have a good night, everybody.